Okay, what am I saying? Well, hi and cheers to 50th reunion. 50 years, crazy. My name is Craig Wells, and I don't come here very often, so to come back to Hudson and see what's been going on is crazy. I've had an amazing journey in life from my beginnings in theater here in Hudson, and I feel very fortunate that I got to do my little shows in New York City and around the world and share my talents with people, and I also feel really glad that I was able to teach students about acting and musical theater and improvisation and that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I'm like, do I need only a glass of wine to finish this project? I'm not sure, but I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you for listening.
Oh, no. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Where have you lived and what have you done?
Oh, okay. Where have I lived? So, where have I lived? I've lived in so many places. So, I left Hudson and my family moved to Chicago area. Then I moved to New York City. I lived in New York City for about 17 years. Then I moved to California and lived in California for about 6 years. And I moved to El Paso, Texas, and lived there for about 5 years. And I moved back to the New York City, New Jersey area, lived there for 2 years. Then I moved to Vermont, lived there for 13 years, and now I'm living in the Palm Springs area in a city called Rancho Mirage. And what else am I supposed to say?
What were you
us actors
doing?
are supposed to remember everything.
Yes,
okay.
what were you doing all
What was I
this
doing all
time?
the time? So in New York City, while I was in New York City, I was very fortunate to pursue a career in performing and acting, singing. I literally traveled around the world performing. I did 2 shows on Broadway. One was called Chess. That was my Broadway debut. Chess, if you don't know, was written by the ABBA guys. And then I did the musical Les Mis. I did it around the country for over a year, almost a year and a half, and then I went to the Broadway production and did that there. I was very lucky. I did some off-Broadway shows where I got reviewed, where I got to see my picture in the New York Times, which was like one of my, I wanted to go to New York and make that happen. And then I moved to California doing a show and sort of stayed in California and pursued the business out there, but it's a lot different than New York, and I sort of got into other things like marketing and advertising for a magazine, and then I moved to El Paso, Texas, where I worked at the University of Texas at El Paso for the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, doing events and marketing, and I did a little acting there as well. The acting thing's always been part of my life, and I'm very fortunate that I have that ability to do that and to share. Here's my thing. The thing about acting and singing and performing is that for maybe an hour or 2 hours, the people watching can forget about the shit that's going on in their lives, and they can just take a journey, right? They can let go of stuff and be transported to other people's lives and other dilemmas that people are going through. Or they can laugh. I did some shows where, for 90 minutes they're just laughing and forgetting stuff. So I feel really fortunate that that's been a part of my life. And now, living in California, in Rancho Mirage, I'm doing some directing. So I'm taking my theater knowledge and trying to put it on stage and let other people do the work. Let other people act, and let other people make the audience cry, and let someone else do that. And hopefully with my ability to tell the story, right, and to bring truth to the human experience. How's that?
That was better. Thank you, Craig.
I'm a former radio guy, so I'm always fast.
That's right. Up a little bit.
So you just want a bio of what we did. That's the
What
electronic
you did after
version.
high school,
Okay.
including any felonies and convictions.
They're all still pending, so.
Oh, all right. Well, then we're on the edge of our seats.
Right. So anytime.
Okay.
I'm Charlie Warner. After I got out of Hudson High School, I went to Northwestern University, worked as an on-air radio person in Chicago and elsewhere, and then got an MBA from the University of Chicago. Got hired by CBS to work in New York for the CBS Television Network and CBS International. Then they transferred me back to Chicago, and I've pretty much been there ever since. I set up my own consulting company about 30 years ago, consulting media and other companies on matters finance. Happiest moments, I have 2 wonderful children. They're rambunctious, cute, smart, and successful, Elizabeth and Richard, and I've been married to Martha for 37 years.
Yep.
Me start? Okay.
You guys are good?
So, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so.
I'm already gonna cut him off because he's really young.
Okay, I tell stories.
We didn't even know each other that well in high school, but we connected last night.
There we go.
We really did. And I thought it was like I was interested in getting to know him. And here we are today doing a video.
So, my senior year, I went to college in Massachusetts. My senior year in college, my parents moved to this idyllic little beach town in Connecticut called Madison, where the average age was, I used to say dead. Now I would say the average age is about what I am now. And I said, this is no place for a recent college graduate to either live or look for employment. So I moved into New York City, slept on couches and looked for a job, found a job, got an apartment, and I'm living a dream, hanging in Studio 54, going out. Eventually, I meet a Jersey girl who always wanted to live in Manhattan, and 44 years later, I was still there. That's me. What have you been doing? What have you been doing, girl?
I don't know, like I was married 10 years, I have 2 beautiful children, I have 4 great, fabulous grandchildren. I love them dearly, I play with them, I get on the floor.
You're a granny?
You're not a granny?
You're like
You're
a
not
smoking hot
You're
granny.
not a grandpa?
No.
Oh, yeah, I have 4 grandchildren, and I adore them. I teach them they teach me a lot of things, but I teach them, you know, the little bits that I know. But I love them.
You know lots.
I do know lots, and he gives good. Like, if you're gonna show this at our like 60th reunion, you're all gonna think that we had sex.
Don't worry, we'll probably be dead. Yeah.
You're all gonna think that we had sex, but there's just this like cosmic. Like he's giving me backgrounds. Like, wait, he picked my phone.
I found it.
I'm not. Look at people are looking at me. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Hope Prochaska Donaldson. Since I graduated from Hudson High School, I attended Bethany College in Bethany, West Virginia. I went there as a theater major, but that didn't last long. Came out as a communications major. After that, I worked for Kent State University doing international admissions for 4 years. Then I moved into human resources. I've been in human resources for the rest of my career, and I'm still working because I am having fun. For the last 12 years, I haven't worked a Friday. I work only Mondays through Thursdays. I work with great people. I have a lot of fun. My husband, Craig Donaldson, retired this past April, but I don't seem to have any desire to join him with that pursuit. I just got back from our California office, so I do enjoy the travel with work. I also enjoy travel in general. I've probably been to 39 different countries. I've been to India 3 times with work. That's probably the most exotic trip. Personally, I've been visiting with friends in Israel. I went to Yugoslavia when it was still a country. I've been to Morocco and Spain and Portugal and England and Germany and Austria. We're going on a Viking River cruise this November. It'll be our 2nd Viking River cruise. We've driven from Munich to Prague. I'll be going to Prague again. It's my favorite city in the world. Never had children, but I've had many canine kids. I currently have Dylan, who's an 11-year-old rescued mini bull terrier, and Buddy, who's a rescued English cream golden retriever. And love them, and I endorse rescue 100%.
How'd you do?
Hi, Kathy Donaldson. So when we started out,
Working at the photo company.
Oh my God. After high school, the photos would come out of the machine and we would have to stuff them in the envelope with the negatives. And of course, we spent more time looking at the hot guys and the photos than we did probably stuffing them in.
But I got the Rolling Stones picture, and I said, oh, we need a reprint of this one. We don't have this one. So she went off to college,
I left for Colorado, went to college.
and I stayed back until I got a job at the post office. And I was a letter carrier.
It's good. I was an occupational therapist, spent my whole career in, first in Colorado, then in Florida. Married my husband, had 4 kids.
I was having fun in my 20s, and I got married late, like 32, as they say late, whatever. And then I had like 4 kids. Yep.
Right? It's a
She's
theme.
counting. How many do I?
We were best friends since junior high, right?
Yep.
I've stayed best friends
Yep.
all these years.
Yep.
So,
And then I think I resigned from the post office in '94 and had my 3rd child, boy, 4 boys. Yeah, I resigned, and then all of a sudden I had another boy, and I did the census during that 10-year gap, and then I got a job as a lunch lady at schools in Hudson, and for like 15 minutes more, I would move from job to job, from school to school actually, applying for these jobs until I got a job in the middle school. And I started working for a special needs girl for 4 hours, and then they hired me full time. And I'm still there and I love it. Yeah.
so I spent my career in Florida working as an occupational therapist. I worked with my husband as a rheumatologist in a big clinic called the Arthritis Center. Now retired, now have moved to Colorado where I went to college. 3 of my 4 kids live there, so I'm very happy. Grandma to Nana, I should say, to 4 grandchildren. So I have 2 boys and 2 girls, and that's their love of my life, and I can't imagine anything better than being a Nana.
So I'm a grandma to a horse, 2 dogs, to about 7 cats.
And what's your grandma name?
Feed me.
Feed
me!
That's wonderful.
Okay, we say our name.
Yep.
Rob Barone, class of 73. I did not go to college. I started working at Al Thompson Chevrolet, which is now Zeppi's Pizza, my senior year, washing cars and working cleaning up in the body shop, and they said, do you want to learn how to do body work? So I did. Big mistake, but it was much fun painting cars, dirty job, but I got out of that, got a different career. That's kind of boring stuff, but I got married young, 22, to a 1977 graduate, and we got divorced 10 years later, two boys, 40 and 37 as a result of it. And 4 years after we graduated, John Delcos talked me into writing for the Hudson Hub Times and covering sports at Hudson. And so 46 years running, maybe, still next week. I've been covering Hudson football and basketball.
So were you doing that at the same time that you were doing these other jobs?
Yeah, that was a hobby.
Yeah.
It was a hobby.
And then it
They
became
paid me
more
a
than
little. At first it was a little extra money, and then after a while it was like, this is just for fun, and so I did not cover all the sports after a while. Cut it down to football and basketball. And well, I guess I'm proud of it. A few years ago, I was tired of hearing coaches saying something was a record. 30 points in a game, that's a record. No, I know I've seen more, so I put together a record book for football and basketball at Hudson for the school, but they haven't really taken it. I just give it to the coaches every year, and I still keep the stats for it. And we'll be going to the game next Friday, they play Highland, which is, by the time people see this, it'll be over. Both teams were 10-0 last year. So the first game this year, we're playing a really good team. So that's my life.
Good. Cool. Tell us what you did on your last 50 summer vacations.
Let me see, last couple of years I've been traveling extensively over to Europe. told my kids I'm going to spend the money before I die. And then I've taken trips Europe and then just local trips around the country. Still working after 40 years at my current company. I'm retiring at the end of the year, thank God. And trying to find myself a job after this.
Another real job? Or?
Another real job, yeah.
Yeah?
Well, possibly. If I get kicked out after 6 months.
Not like a greeter at Walmart or something.
Yeah, she's already got, actually she's got Home Depot application. But no, I love working and I've got 3 kids, still live around Hudson. And I've got a rental property up here.
Where'd you go to school?
Went to Hudson High and then actually went to Akron, which University of the Zips, graduated in '78. So I've been out of school there. Had a job here in Hudson with Boys Controls. And then Allstate, so two local companies there.
Okay.
Moved up to Kansas City for about a year. And then with my current company, Brinks Incorporated, for a total of 4 years. Travel a lot with them and just enjoying it.
Kids, pets?
Kids, I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. Of the 3, the youngest one's married. No grandkids yet. I do have grand dogs, Bernese and a Siberian Husky. My wife was retired about 2 years ago.
And you still practice the trombone 4 hours a day?
Yeah, yes. And every time I do practice it, I think of my mentor over there. But I'm glad to be here because I'm thinking I've made the last 3 years and it's been here at the country club.
Yeah, we'll start an alumni band. There we go. Thanks, Jack.
Okay, I'm Sue Eggleton, now Susan Moran. Went to Northwestern University after high school. Lived in Chicago for the next 7+ years. I've spent my entire career in the broadcasting business. And when I was working for Westinghouse Broadcasting, met my husband John. And we have one wonderful son who's married, and now we have a little baby boy named Rowan, who's 8 months old, and he's like super cute.
Where do you live now?
We live in Weston, Connecticut, and I worked for various companies, including Westinghouse Broadcasting and Cable, ABC Radio News, the Wall Street Journal, and Dow Jones, and most recently at iHeartMedia. And it's really great to be here and see all of these wonderful people that I went to high school with, and to reconnect with them. And Kim, if you're listening to this, I love you with all my heart, and I remember all the great fun we had at Girl Scout camp, and it's just great memories.
That's fine. Tell us about life after high school.
Life after high school.
Well, Bruce helped me out a lot with my college journey.
I gave him some good advice.
He accompanied me on my college tour to Drexel University, and Kathy Donaldson came as well. Drove my parents' station wagon from Hudson to Philadelphia, and there might have been a bong in the car. I don't remember, but it was a long drive.
It was a long drive.
We needed to stay awake. So
and occupy time.
So we got to Drexel, which is it's a business school, engineering school, and it was a great interview. I accepted,
And the rest is history, as they say.
And then we went to Brooklyn, and that's where the fun started. but Bruce can tell about that.
Oh yeah, we traveled to Pratt. We were visiting your brother, wasn't it?
My sister.
Your sister, okay. We drove through and we arrived probably middle of the night, nowhere to stay. Slept in the car, New York City. Kind of ignored the occasional vagrant that might walk by and tap on the window, but
it was a Ford Country Squire, so plenty of room.
plenty of room. But we lived through that.
Yeah.
We both had enjoyed our lives after Hudson High. Got our college degrees. Got some master's degrees in there as well.
Well,
yeah.
Bruce talked me into leaving Drexel after a year. He didn't think my grades were up
After
to
he
the
took
test.
you there.
After helping me accept.
I could tell he was destined for bigger and better things.
So I transferred to the Pratt Brooklyn campus, and
best movie ever made.
And Bruce became a basketball star at Denison University.
Went on and
With Todd Harris. Two
yes.
of you were like
fellow classmate.
the Twin Towers of Denison.
Twin Towers of Denison. Went on and got my master's from Washington University in St. Louis, my MBA in marketing and finance. Started a business career with several Fortune 500 companies, initially Exxon, later went with Tenneco Automotive, Eastman Kodak Company, FedEx, and after a corporate layoff, casted aside by a corporation, decided to start my own business and managed to successfully launch a Medicare insurance agency. And that's, if anybody's ever thinking of starting their own business, all I can say is go for it. Because corporate America, you're just a number. So do your own thing if you have the opportunity, and don't look back. And Larry?
Well done, man.
Thank you.
Well done.
And Larry is, of course, the picture of corporate America.
The picture of corporate America.
As a disillusioned Catholic,
He's put his skills to use. I remember seeing the house that, was it in Twinsburg, that first place that you had down 91?
oh, the old stone house.
Yeah.
I got moved to Hellfire.
Did it? Okay,
Yeah.
I got moved to Hellfire and found his passion and
Restoring old buildings.
Restoring old buildings, does fantastic work. I've seen some of the pictures of the work you do. It blows my mind that such skill and beauty comes out of those hands and minds. So
And,
keep it up.
all learned fixing up the house on College Street, Just, we moved here in 10th grade and we moved into this ramshackle house, and my parents let us have like a demolition party before we started the renovation. So all of our friends from Hudson High School came with sledgehammers and smashed out walls, and then we rebuilt it, and then started restoring
That's how it
other
started.
old buildings. Yeah, it
That's
started
how it
right here,
started.
right here
Right
in
here
Hudson.
in Hudson. So,
Cheers,
Yeah.
Hudson.
cheers, Hudson. Great place to have grown up.
Bruce, you got to take a minute and talk
Yes.
about your uncle?
Uncle, yes.
Yes.
I'll make
That's
one
a
comment.
wonderful story.
Yes, indeed. My dad's brother, my uncle, Frank E. Peterson Jr., he was the first African-American Marine Corps fighter pilot. Flew over 350 combat missions in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. I like to tell people he was the Jackie Robinson of the Marine Corps. Became the first black to achieve the general level in the Marine Corps. When he retired, he was a 3-star general. Most recently, the Navy has honored him by naming a ship, a guided missile destroyer, after him, the USS Frank E. Peterson Jr., also known as DDG-121. You can Google it, see pictures. It's currently docked in Pearl Harbor and part of the Pacific Fleet, taking care of business and protecting us and our democracy. So, go Navy.
Right.
Cheers.
General Peterson.
General Peterson,
All
thank
right.
you.
Go. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Hi, I'm Stu Brown. I've been, since leaving Hudson in school in St. Louis, moved out to the West Coast, went to grad school out there, worked for a little bit, came back to the East Coast of Boston to do more graduate work. Finished that up, and have been in Boston ever since. I have a wife who's a child and adolescent psychiatrist in Boston, 2 growing daughters, and a place in Vermont. It's great to see everyone here, and thanks for inviting me.
Are we ready? Okay, good. So what happened after high school?
Well, first of all, I want to say that Rock Ruhrman is making me do this against my will, but that's okay. I won't hold it against you.
I'm incredibly persuasive. So, yeah.
So after high school, I went to the University of Cincinnati. Jeannie Lococo was my roommate for 3 years. I majored in speech pathology and audiology, which means I was going to be a speech therapist. But by the time I got out, I didn't want to do that anymore. So I got my master's in special ed. I taught kids with multiple disabilities for 30 years, which was never a dull day, ever, very fun. I met my husband at University of Cincinnati. We got married in '78. We had kids in '85 and '87. They're both boys who turned out well and grew up and left home. I retired from teaching when I was only 53 years old, and I was good for about 4 months, and then I got pretty bored. So back in that day, we had newspaper classifieds. I wanted to work outside, and I found a job at the Greater Cincinnati Airport, and so I loaded and unloaded back airplanes for 12 years, and I got muscles. Push the plane out, signal the plane in, load it, unload it. I retired from that when I was 65 with free flights for lifetime my dad.
Really?
And my husband and I stand by, but still.
Yeah.
And then I finished a book I had been working on for a pretty long time. It's a murder mystery. It's about a teacher who's essentially me, but she finds a body in the restroom after school. And I published that in 2020, and I'm working on another book. And that's about it.
That is amazing. Oh,
I need a question or something like that.
I'll throw questions at you, and hilarity will ensue. Yeah, tell us what you did after high school, starting with rooming with me at Kent State University.
Yes, Rock Berman was my freshman house roommate.
Dunbar Hall.
In Dunbar Hall, near the music building.
Yep.
He was an organ major at the time, and that actually inspired me to go to the practice organ rooms when they weren't being used. And I actually got permission from his organ teacher to do this, and I learned most of the toccata and fugue in D minor.
That's you're gonna aim big. Yep.
Couldn't quite get all the way through the fugue.
And then what happened? These are the incisive, cutting-edge questions that I will be asking.
Great. Well, I was originally a mathematics major, but then I added physics onto that. And when I graduated, I went to Alaska for 9 months, working at a university there. That was a really fantastic experience. I ended up being the acting director of public affairs at that university at the age of 22. And then went to graduate school at the University of Rochester and worked at the Fermilab on an experiment there. And then did an internship in West Berlin when the wall was still around it at a nuclear physics laboratory there. And I loved being in Europe, and so I applied, or I already actually had an interview for it, went to a job that I got with Rockefeller University, which is in New York City, at the CERN laboratory in Geneva. I worked on the intersecting storage rings, which was the first proton-proton collider that had been made, which is now like the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, which some of you might have heard of. And then I finished my PhD in New York City with Rockefeller University, and was hired by, and I studied Japanese when I was there for 4 years. And so I was hired by UC Davis to lead their group in Japan, I think because I could already speak Japanese and was willing to go to Japan. I worked there for 5 years, met my wife, who was a member of the Thai royal family, and we got married in 1992 in one of their palaces in Bangkok, which was pretty cool. And then I joined, in the same year, I joined the compact muon solenoid experiment at CERN, which eventually, after a good number of years, in 2012, we announced the discovery of the Higgs boson, if you've ever heard of that, which is one of the most important physics discoveries so far in this century. And I'm still on that experiment, although I retired from UC Davis and taught for a couple of years, taught high energy physics in Singapore for a couple of years, and have gone back with my wife, who's a visiting professor there, for most of this year, and I'm going back there in September.
Children?
We had two in 1995. We had identical twin boys who are both in California, working there, and they each are living with their one's an official fiance, and the other one's a likely fiance, And interesting for identical twins, they both are named Tatiana.
Okay. Felony convictions?
Numerous.
Yeah, I want to see how you are under pressure. Okay. Yeah, I think that's great. Thanks, Richard.
Hey, making a recording for HHS Class 73. Happy 50th. I'm sorry I'm not there with you. I'm filming this on one of my favorite places near my home in Bedford, Virginia, in South Central Virginia in the Blue Ridge Mountains on the James River. And behind me, you can see a little bit of the bridge going over the James River. That's actually the Blue Ridge Parkway with the Harry F. Byrd footbridge underneath. Been living here for about 16 years now, but most of my life after school, I went to school down here in Virginia at Washington and Lee and Virginia, and kind of came back to our family roots. We still have a farm in Staffordsville and got about 1,400 acres over there, and just love the state. But actually had a company that I was a partner in and raised my daughters in Pittsburgh. We lived in Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, a very Hudson Shaker type suburb. Had the 2 Volvos and the Weber grill and all that good stuff. But ultimately wanted to get back to the mountains and a little bit slower pace of life. So at the age of 50, I was going through a divorce. My 2 daughters, one daughter, Meredith, who's now 34, was getting ready to do her undergrad at Hollins University here in Virginia. And my other daughter was at Mount Lebanon High School. Anyway, I was going through divorce and could have gone anywhere, and decided Virginia was it for me, and still had an aunt and uncle in Winchester, and like I mentioned earlier, our farm down here. So it was kind of a strong pull to move here. I switched going from private sector to working in nonprofit, and what did I do? I was director of major gifts at Lynchburg College, and then I became director of the Bauer Center for the Arts, and enjoyed that time. My oldest daughter is an artist, and I should mention too, I'm talking about kids, my oldest daughter and her wife live in Pittsburgh. She is with RAND Corporation and has to get a big-time DOD security clearance for what she's doing. She basically said, Dad, if I told you what I'm doing, I have to kill you. Her wife, Olivia, is a cybersecurity specialist. She'd been with PNC Bank, is now with a boutique firm, working with high-end athletes and actors, and she can't tell me what she does either. My youngest daughter is out in Denver, just finished her radiology program and is with Kaiser Permanente. And her boyfriend, Ben, has 1 more year to go at University of Denver in law school. So they're probably going to stay there in the Rockies. Imagine they'll probably move back to Breckenridge, where they were before Denver. I'm rambling. The last 12 years, I've been with my partner, David Aiken, who is a really phenomenal landscape artist. He was one of 3 Virginia artists to get into the Salmagundi Club in New York this year, and it's the 2nd time being nationally recognized at Salmagundi. What can I say? We're total polar opposites. He's very much an introvert. Not so much me. I used to be, but that part of what happened to me was when I went to reserve and had kind of got my bearings a little bit. I became an extrovert, so I'm more obnoxious than ever. But anyway, I don't know what else to say. I'm real active now. I'm retired. I am on a couple of different boards. I'm elder at my church, Presbyterian Church in Roanoke, at Second Pres. Membership chair and former president of the Smith Mountain Lake Rotary Club, and on the Bedford Community Health Foundation, and CASA of Lynchburg. Had a few other things going on too, but for enjoyment, I love being out here on the water, kayaking. I'm also in a men's hiking group. We go every Wednesday. We usually do about 8 or 9 mile hikes. And the nice part of this part of Virginia, we've got Blue Ridge Parkway, the AT, all sorts of national and state forest around. And what else? I'm in a book club that we meet every Tuesday morning. And right now, ironically, we're reading a book, David Brooks, which some of you may have read. And if you hadn't, I recommend it, called Second Mountain. And it kind of addresses folks our age who have had that first mountain experience of building a career, family, doing all that good stuff, and then having a valley experience, and then Second Mountain, realizing there's more to life than us. And I think most of us at this point have have lost a parent or both of our parents and have had a lot of different changes, whether it's divorce or like me coming out or whatever. But life is good. What can I say? So anyway, and this is really boring, I think, because I'm just talking about me, but I guess that's what you're supposed to do on these. So again, great to see you. If you're ever down in Virginia, come on down. I live near Poplar Forest, which was Thomas Jefferson's retreat home, and also the National D-Day Memorial is you can see it actually in the wintertime when the leaves are down. It's right in Bedford where I live. Okay, best to you all. Have a great 50th, and sorry I can't be there with you, but have a great time. Bye.
However you're comfortable. Yep, go ahead.
Neil McConnell, part of the class of 1973. After high school, I went to Kent State. Of course, I ran track and cross country. I did graduate, and after that, I went to work for Thieves North American Combustion and sold burners for my entire career. After, 1985, I met Sue, and we got married and had 2 boys, Mark and Tim. Just so happens that both Mark and Tim went to Hudson High School and both ran track and cross country, with Tim making all-state in cross country. A little turn of fate, Mark, my oldest son, is now the cross country and track coach at Hudson, where they have won 2 state championships. Currently have 2.5 grandchildren. Tim's boy is on the way, and it is great being grandparents. And besides that, the wife and I golf, hike, and travel.
Well, let's go back a minute. You started by saying, of course, I ran track and cross country. I think most of us know, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the fact that you laid down a record that endured for decades. What was that?
Well, I was a state champion in cross country in high school, and in track, I was a state runner-up in the 2-mile, and I was also the runner-up in wrestling at the 126 pounds. The career changed. I was probably a better wrestler than I was a runner, but I decided to continue running. I did qualify for the 1980 Olympic trials in the marathon, but shortly retired after that.
Yeah.
And I was also elected into the 2012 Hudson Hall of Fame.
And your time was a record at Hudson for
25
right?
years or something like that.
Yeah, you could have led with that. That's perfect. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jim Phipps. I'm at my 50th high school reunion, class of 1973. I graduated and I immediately went to college and graduated in 4 years from St. Louis University. Then surprisingly enough, I came back to Hudson and I got a job with Moore's Controls. If you remember, Moore's Controls was right downtown, and I got a job as right out of college as a salesman for them. And then after about 6 months of training, I went to, I moved to Kansas City, lived there for 3 years as a salesman in the Midwest. Then I was promoted and I went down to South Carolina, lived in Columbia, South Carolina, and I finished off my sales career. 1980, I got promoted and I moved back to Hudson, and I've been in Hudson as an adult since 1980. I moved here in 1967 from Conneaut. I started 7th grade here. So I'm at Moore's Controls, I'm in management. In 1990, I left that and I became an entrepreneur, and I joined a startup company, and we grew it, we were very successful, we took the company public. A group of us left, we started another business, we didn't do as well, and then we ended up selling it. So I was very fortunate. I traveled the world with my business and my professional life. So I've seen a lot in the world, and I very much enjoyed that. But I do love living here in Hudson. It's been my home. It's a fantastic community. I've been involved in the community a little bit with economic development and helping businesses attract to Hudson. I've been on an alumni outreach committee here in the school district, and we helped build this new alumni park. our class is the first one, 73, to build a garden down there. Something I think hopefully catches on. You can buy a bench. You can, commemorate your 50 years or your 10 years with trees, gardens, and a bench. So in a short period of time, that's what I did in life, and it's very, very royal. I'm very happy at this age. Life's good. Thank
Family,
you.
kids, pets,
No,
slaves
I'm
in the
a
basement?
bachelor. I never married. I have very, very close relationships with my brothers and my nephews and their families and my lifelong friends from college that I vacation with, and I'm very fortunate to have those strong, lifelong friends at this stage in my life. So I'm very thankful for a lot of things, and I'm very happy. So thank you.
There we go. Perfect.
I'm Kevin Weber, and ended up as a family physician. Graduated Case Western Reserve University in '82. Then ended up family medicine residency at the University of Michigan, and settled in northern Michigan, Traverse City, with my wife and children. So this is my first reunion. I figured 50 years, now or never. And I'm learning tonight that I was sort of considered mystery man of the class of '73. Fact of the matter is, I really didn't have a clue, and I think there was less mystery and more just social ineptitude. So that just so 50 years.
Well, just for the record, you moved here in '72.
Well, it's true. I joined the class during my senior year. So, in any case,
I think we would say that you saw us at our best.
well, I think
You're supposed to say, "Why, yes, Mr. Wehrman, that's true."
I think I'm seeing you at your best tonight.
There you go.
And I like that. I keep going back to this notion that in high school our adolescence was on full display, and I think I was just trying to suppress that as much as possible. But it's been lovely to reconnect with a few of you. You seem like a great group of people that I frankly wish I'd spent a little more time with over the years. So, congratulations.
Yes, I'm Scott Durr. I graduated in 1973 from Hudson High School. After high school, I went to Ashland College.
Where's Ashland?
Ashland, Ohio.
Ashland, okay.
Now it's called University
Yep.
of Ashland. And things didn't work out there, so I ended up getting a degree at Akron U in education, and I ended up working with kids with special needs. And I got a job. Before that, while I was going to Akron U, I had different jobs working in group homes and working with kids with special needs. So with that experience, I wanted to get a degree in special ed. And so after I graduated in '85, I got a job in Niles, Ohio, near Youngstown, Warren area. And I taught school for a couple years in their County Board of Mental Retardation Developmental Disability School. Ended up moving to the workshop. Then I got a job in '95 in Dover, New Philly area, working for the Tuscaloosa County Board of Developmental Disabilities, working with adults and helping them find jobs that they wanted and employment. And in the meantime, for my fun, I got involved in history. For the last 30 years, I've been reenacting the Civil War. I've been doing World War II reenacting. I've been president of different groups. I'm a Dover Lions Club member. I've been president of their club. Just been very busy. Just got back from Scotland. I have 2 cats. I have acquired the last year. I'm just rambling, so.
That's exactly what we want, yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of volunteer. I volunteer at Pegasus Horse Farm, working with kids with special needs. So did a lot of traveling. I was in a couple movies. One was called Gods and Generals. I was in the background as a Confederate soldier, and usually do Union.
Was that the one with, was that James Broderick? Who was in Gods and Generals?
Stephen Lang.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that was a good movie.
And the actor who played Chamberlain was, he was in a lot of other movies. And it was a great experience being in a movie, major picture, and see how what goes on behind the background. And so I've been in other movies, but they haven't been published. So I've been in a lot of parades, done a lot in my life, and ready to move on and do some more fun things. Retirement is great. That's all I have to say.
I worked in Jackson, class of 73 at Hudson High School. Went to the University of Missouri for journalism school. Then lived in St. Louis for about a dozen years, providing advertising jobs, including for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, selling advertising. Moved to Cleveland for another job in 1988. And from there, different marketing communications and kinds of jobs, and eventually in 1999 for a one-man band ad agency serving technical clients. I did that for 20 years and it took good care of me, so went to bed early and church work, courses, roses, and I recently completed a novel that always published Fulfillment of Choice. So hopefully I can share my experience of life that got started in Hudson High School.
There, it's David Schollenberger from Hudson High School, class of 1973. Welcome to London, where everyone lives like a king. This is my home anyway. Hello again. Here we are in a traditional, cosy English pub, drinking traditional English beer. Hello again. In London, our timekeeping is done by large towers, modelled after the Hudson Clock Tower. Cheap knockoff really, but that's what they do. Hello again. The final stop on our tour today is the Tower of London, home of the crown jewels, which in this country is not a reference, as we know it, to one's private parts.
Go ahead.
My name is Don Fallon, and I graduated in 1973. And after graduation, I went out into the working field. I worked on garbage trucks, learned how to weld, hydraulics, diesel mechanics. I also went through 2 years at Denver Automotive and Diesel College. I also made eyeglasses for 2 years. I still have a great affection for playing the guitar, and I play a little bit of piano as well. And I enjoy doing car restorations, enjoy going to auto shows, and that's about it.
Cool. Hi, everybody. Rock Wehrman here. Out of Hudson High School, I went to Kent State. A performance degree in pipe organ is a really useful piece of paper. I ended up not using it, and I got a job at the Moog Synthesizer Company, where in a stunning example of the Peter Principle, I started as a product specialist and ended up running the marketing and advertising divisions of the company. It was a pretty small company. I married Janice Green from our graduating class in '77. We moved to Chicago for about 18 months, and then moved to Western New York, where we lived in East Aurora until 1984, when we split up and the universe pointed me back to Ohio, where I got a job with Audio Technica US Incorporated. They make microphones and phonograph cartridges and things of that nature. And that's where I met my bride, Susan. She ran the credit department and I ran the advertising department. And we got married in 1986. Shortly after that, I had a moment of revelation where I realized I was becoming a corporate executive type and not the musician that I always thought I was. If you woke me up in the middle of the night and said, "Who are you?" I would not say advertising. So I left Audio Technica and got a job in the pit orchestra of the Carousel Dinner Theater. And I played there for 7 years while I established a small but fairly successful company doing custom music for, at the beginning, radio and television, and then later on, social media, the internet in general. I also taught jazz piano at the University of Akron and Cleveland State University. I retired from most of that about a year and a half ago. I still take the occasional job if it's interesting, hence me being in a hotel room in Pittsburgh. I'm about to go play a concert on a paddle boat, which I think will be a lot of fun. Susan has retired also, so we do projects around the house. I collect cars, and we're just having the time of our lives. It's my fervent hope that everybody in the class of 73 has been as blessed and lucky as I have been to live such a wonderful life. I hope to see you all at the reunion.
Just tell me
whenever you're ready.
Hi everybody, I used to be Beth Johnson, and when I graduated from Hudson, in fact, actually this weekend, I looked at the most popular person and the shortest person and the largest person and everything, and I had no memory of being voted along with our very own Rick Wehrman.
That'd be
sorry,
Rock
Rock.
Wehrman.
Little brother's Rick. Can we start over? Let me start over. Can I do that?
Start over.
Okay, start over. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
Everybody, hi. Was Beth Johnson, and this weekend is actually my first trip back to Hudson in 30 years.
Really?
Yeah, 20-year anniversary was the last time I came back, and we were looking at the 1973 final newspaper, and I had no memory of being voted most talented. I was the most talented female, and Rock Wehrman was the most talented male. And I honestly had no memory of that. So what's interesting is I was known for singing at Hudson, and I never sang again when I left Hudson. My life went in a different direction. I went to Miami University and studied business and computer science, and I joined IBM right out of college. Went to Cincinnati, and then to Columbus. Dayton was in between those two cities. And then in 1984, I did a U-turn and went south. So I've lived in the Atlanta area since 1984. I had a very lucrative and just such a blessed 35-year career with IBM, which was actually really unheard of. And I loved everything that I did, but my last 20 years were in education and training for IBM. And that led to so many other things. Today, I teach English as a second language, not because I am good at that, but because I've been an instructor for so many years. And the one thing that IBM taught me is you better be able to learn the topic without any experience and be an expert before you stand up in front of a group of people. So ESL, when I was asked to teach that, I had no experience, but I love my students. They are from Guatemala and Mexico and Brazil and Argentina.
All ages?
All adults.
Okay.
And as I told them the first day, it is such an honor for me to be able to enable them to be successful in America. And they are the future of America. I never ask if they're here legally or illegally. I don't care. My job is to equip them. We laugh, we have so much fun. All the years that I was working for IBM, for 25 years, over that period of time I had 5 West Highland White Terriers. And one of my ministries is I trained each one to be a therapy dog. So in my spare time, I worked at some of the local hospitals, assisted living, behavioral treatment centers, and I trained them to ride in strollers, to keep their feet off the ground, and we would visit with patients, put them on the bed if the patient asked that, and it just brought a sense of normalcy into a very frightening situation. And believe me, adults are just as frightened of being in a hospital as children are. I have been in deathbed situations, and the whole family is gathered there, and I come in with my little West Highland White Terrier in some goofy costume, and there's humor, and there's laughter at the end of this person's life, and it's such an honor to be there in those moments. So God has been extremely supportive of me, and it is so good to be back with people that I grew up with, and I don't have to explain myself. It's wonderful. So I will be back for the next reunion. I won't wait another 20 or 30 years. And thank you for even listening to my story.
Hi everybody, I'm Kathy Fortney Willoughby now. I have done a lot of things in the 50 years since we graduated. Got married after I graduated from Miami, had 4 kids. I now have 4 grandchildren. My kids are scattered around the country, so it's fun to go visit them. I went back to school in 2004, got my master's degree at Bowling Green State University, so I could work in higher education, and I've been working at the University of Cincinnati for the past 12 years as an academic advisor. I don't have any immediate plans to retire because I enjoy my job so well, and enjoy visiting with my grandchildren and working with young people, and try to keep busy, but it's good to be here at the reunion.
Hey, I'm Kim Mann. I'm Kathy Ladon.
And I'm Kathy Trevalier.
And I wish I was Kathy Trevalier. But I'm Ginny still.
And people used to tell Ginny and me that we looked exactly alike. Yeah.
But
Everyone says so.
And people used to ask Kathy and me if we were sisters.
Yes.
They still do. Yeah. And we all love each other.
We all see each other often.
Yes.
As possible.
Yeah.
We've stayed friends. Yep.
Yeah.
Through thick and thin.
Right.
And
BFFs.
we all had a career of one sort or another.
But we had a discussion earlier about what was the career we wanted when we all met and became friends. I swore I was going to be a nun.
That would have been an interesting choice.
We shouldn't be laughing quite as much as we are. But yes.
And I always thought that I was going to be teaching elementary education.
I did too. I thought I would be a teacher. I thought I'd be a great teacher, and I joined FTA, Future Teachers of America, and it cured me of that ambition right away.
And I always wanted to be Kathy Trevalier. So I ended up as
Oh, for God's sakes. If that was your dream, after all these years, do it. There we go. I always wanted to be Ginny Stone, so here we are.
But in all seriousness, we have all had very good careers, families, and those that love us. So really, coming back to Hudson is fun. We enjoy the friendship that we had then and making friends now with everybody who has gotten past the hang-ups of high school.
We want the details. Tell us about the canal and the locks and all the stuff you do.
Okay, I, with my husband, operate a marina in upstate New York, in which is on the Erie Canal. And we see and meet a lot of people from all over the United States and Europe. It's a very interesting job.
I ended up running product development departments for 2 different companies. One for 20 years, which was toys, and more recently, a company in Ohio that nobody knows about, but it's the largest manufacturer of pet supplies in the United States, which has been a lot of fun. And so right now I'm working on a project designing cat toys. So that's always fun, and it's enabled me to do a lot of world travel. So that's been a wonderful career.
And I have had a really wonderful life with my husband of 38 years, Dean Miller. We raised 3 children, and we have 5 grandchildren going on 6. And that was my real dream, was to create a family and a home.
It is a beautiful family. You know, I'm part of it.
Because this is Camp Chevalier.
Exactly. Guess you didn't get the name today. So I too love having my family and my friends, reconnecting, and had a pretty robust career in advertising, which I loved. But now I'm retired and I have my own business creating mirrors and home decor items out of shells that I source on Cape Cod, where I live.
As you can tell, because we're very beachy too.
I know.
Loving that look.
Yeah. So it's all good.
That's great.
Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
It's just going right now. Getting everybody. Yeah. So you want me to like get everybody going from right to left? Okay. It's just going. We're getting all of it. All right, look right here, everybody.
Do that, Gina. He's gonna take 10 of them.
While we're young, okay?
He's right now. He's past us. We can relax. Woo! All right. My guys are tired.
Good. Coming back.
You coming back?
Coming back. Very nice. Very nice.
Everybody say hi, Kim.